Okay, I had a student that had problems and asked me how to solve this problem, and I thought I would record a video of it because there's several ways to solve it, and all of them are kind of neat ways to solve the problem. So I'm going to show you like 3 ways that you could possibly solve this problem. And first I'm going to show you the way I would probably solve it, and then I'll show you the way the book. By the way, this problem came out of this book. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Came out of this book, M Finance, 4th edition by Cornet, Adair, and Nofsinger. I'm using, ignore the Connect Access and the ISBN number if you're just going to buy the book. If you get Connect Access, then you would use this. But anyway, it came out of this book, a very good book for finance at the college level. And so let's go ahead and read the problem. It says a small business owner visits her bank to ask for a loan. The owner states that she can pay $1,400 per month for the next 3 years and then $2,800 per month 2 years after that. The bank is charging 8.5% APR. How much would it be willing to lend the business owner? So let's go ahead and just put in what we're given here. And I'm going to do it just like on the financial calculator. When you read across, you're usually going to have N, R, PV, oops, not PV, not PV, PV, oh, PV, and then you're going to have PMT and future value. And so first it's going to be 3 years. Trying to type in the dark here. 3 years, and it's 8.5% APR. And the present value, we don't know this, but we know that the first 3 years of payment is going to be $1,400 a month. I'll go ahead and make it negative $1,400 because it's a payment. And the future value, we don't know that either. And then in 2 more years, it's the same APR, and we don't know what the present value of these cash flows are, but then they're going to pay $2,800. And let's go ahead and make that negative too, since it's up. Now these are both per month, right? Per month. Or let's say monthly. So right away the test guy can tell you something. You need to be careful here, because this is monthly, this is yearly, and this is yearly. So we don't want to mix our units when we solve this. And also this is going to be 0 because there's no cash flow at the end, right? So basically you want to get to this answer. So I'm going to show you how I would solve it. And we want to find how much you'd be willing to lend. Okay. So the way I would solve it. So the problem here is, first you have to go from here. You have to find the present value of this. They want to know how much you're willing to lend. That's the present value. How much is it worth to the bank right now if someone's going to give them $1,400 for 3 years and another $2,800 for 2 years after that at this interest rate, this annual interest rate. So they're asking what the present value is. So before I find this present value, I got to find this. I have to find the present value of these cash flows. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go present value, and I'm just going to use the present value function, present value, and the rate is 8.5%. Remember, we got to divide it by 12 because it's monthly payments. We don't want to mix units. The number of periods is 2 years times 12, and the payment is $2,800, and that's all we need to do because there's no future value. So that's what this is right here. So now we have this. Now this present value is the same as this future value. So now I can solve for the present value here. I can say it equals present value, and the rate is still 8.5% divided by 12. And the number of periods here is 3 years, and times 12, right? and the payment here is $1,400 a month. But now we have a future value. But we got to be careful because we don't want this to be positive. It's going to be negative. Okay, so I have to go negative this, and my answer is $92,125.95. Right. Let me put the formulas in here. So that one's a little bit tricky. So the book has a more elegant solution. So let's use the book solution. And this one you have to kind of think about it a little bit, but it's really not that hard to do it this way. You could say, well, first, well, it's hard to take the $2,800. Let's just take the biggest cash flow, and we'll say I want $2,800 all the way back to the present value. So I'm going to say I want the present value of $2,800 for 5 years. This will make sense in a second. And so the present value of $2,800 for 5 years is going to be equal to present value. And the rate again is 8.5% divided by 12. And the number of periods is going to be 12 times parentheses 3 years plus 2 years, right? That's 5 years. And the payment is, we're going to do $2,800, right? And there's no future value. Oops, I forgot to put the parentheses. Let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and copy this format so it formats it as dollars. And let me click here between these two to auto fit this. Let's just take it out 2 more places. So, and let me put the formula in here. It's complaining because I didn't put the parentheses here, and I needed to put the parentheses. That's why we had that ding now. And then we want the present value of, okay, so the problem is here I took $2,800 for 5 years, but really the first 3 years was $1,400. So I have to somehow negate $2,800 minus $1,400 is $1,400. So I have to take off $1,400 worth of payments for 3 years. Okay, so I want the present value of $2,800 minus $1,400 for 5 years, right? Because I have to get rid of this. I took $2,800 all the way back, but really I have to take off whatever is excess of $1,400. This will make sense in a second. This elegant, we got to kind of think about it. So let me go ahead and do it. I'm going to go equals present value, and the rate again is going to be 8.5% divided by 12, and the number of periods now is 3 years times 12, and the payment, well, it's going to be this minus this, okay? And the future value, we don't really worry about it in this case because we're just subtracting off that cash flow, so we get to stop right there. So, so that's how much the excess is that I have to remove. So then if I subtract these, so I go equals this minus this, then I get the answer, right? And it's the same answer we did it the other way. All right, so this I think is more elegant, but you have to think about what you're doing. This one is kind of, to me, this, I don't know, it's every student likes a different way. So I'm going to do the third way, the one where you don't have to think very much. I'm going to call this the brute force Excel solution. Okay, and you can do, well, you can think 5 years is 5 times 12 is 60 months. So I go 1, 2, and we can copy this all the way down. You got to do 2 of them to give Excel the idea, and then I drag it down until it says 60. We want to go 60 periods. And then I'm going to go back up to the top, and the cash flow for the first 3 years is equal to $1,400. I'm going to hit F4, so it points to that $1,400, and I'm going to drag that down for 36 months, which is 3 years. And then the 2 years after that, the cash flow is $2,800. I'm going to go ahead and F4 there, so that puts dollar signs. You can type those dollar signs if you want, but F4 puts them there automatically. And then it's always going to point at that 2,800 that way. It makes it absolute. I'm going to double click to send that down to the bottom. Okay, so now we want the present value of each one of these cash flows. So I'm going to go equals present value. And the rate is still 8.5% divided by 12 because it's a monthly rate. And the number of periods for this first one is 1 period. Now, this is not a payment in this case. We're going to call this a future value. So I'm going to skip the payment, and the future value is this. Okay? And then if I hit enter, that's how much. So if I invested $1,390.15 in 1 month, it would at 8.5% divided by at 8.5% interest per year at 1 month, I would have that. Okay? Then I go to the next one. Whoop, what did I do wrong here? Oh, you got to F4 this. I have to F4 this. It's good I made that mistake. This is, since I didn't F4 this, now you can see what happens. It didn't copy, it moved on to a blank. So I have to hit F4 here, because I always want it to point to this, right? These I want them to move, so I didn't F4 them, but this I always wanted to point to this 8.5%. So anyway, let me send it all the way down. And you can see like, if I want $1,400 in 15 months, well, this is how much I'd need to invest right now. If I want $1,400 in 36 months, that's how. So anyway, it does every month. It finds the present value. If we simply sum this, we're going to get the same answer that we had for the other 3 examples. Okay, so those are 3 methods to do it. My suggestion for an exam, do what makes sense to you, or do more than one method, right? Just to double check yourself. So hopefully that helps. I'll go ahead and put a link to the Excel file I used to do this problem. My picture will show up here, so if you want to subscribe to my videos, click on the picture. If you like the video, click like. I appreciate that. And hopefully that helped. Bye-bye.